In this video, I'm gonna build a homeless shelter for some iconic LEGO minifigures, explaining how you and I can help to end homelessness in our real world. So this is my LEGO city called 23ville, and after a cruise ship crashed just off the shore, it stranded a lot of people here who don't have a place to stay. It's estimated that 2% of the world's population is homeless. That's over 150 million people, and may sound impossible to solve, but all it takes is ordinary people like you, me, and this turkey guy, who so many of you want to be named Tom, to do their part, and we can greatly reduce those numbers. This minifig, by the way, is one of the best animal costumes LEGO has ever made. This tailpiece is so cool, and now I can add it to my bird collection. But as I said, Tom wants to help out the less fortunate in his community, so we're building him a homeless shelter to serve those needs. You've probably already guessed it, but the people he's trying to help are the Series 22 minifigures from our last city, who had been riding the Bunk Beds boat. Everyone else should be fine, they can take the lifeboats home, but these guys don't have a home to go back to after, you know. So the least we can do is build them a place to keep warm from the harsh winter climate of 23ville. These next few months can be incredibly difficult for people without a proper home, as it gets colder and colder in the North Hemisphere. One thing you and I can do to help is by donating our gently used coats, socks, or blankets to various clothing drives instead of throwing them out. They're always in need of more. And speaking of clothing, we've got new designs for all the 22ville folks to match their current situation. Like the forest elf here. Obviously he's older, long story, but he's got a slightly more tattered cape now, and best of all, buff shroom. If nothing else, we have to do this for him. I did some research, and the exterior of most homeless shelters are fairly simple, pretty much just a big box. Except a plain gray wall would be very boring to build out of LEGO, so I'm gonna take you through my process of how to add more detail to this that you can use for your own builds. A really easy way to break up any wall is to add windows. No, not that kind, I mean windows. Even if you don't have clear bricks like these, just leaving gaps in your wall where they should be can have the same effect, letting light in and letting minifigures see out. Like our new design for the birdwatcher here. She's got a shawl, goggles, and turned her handbag into a perch for the toucan she rescued to tag along. These are great so far. But this is still way too much gray, something our Muppet Tower kind of struggled with. So a simple technique I use all the time is adding a foundation layer in a different color, like most buildings have in real life. We can also erect pillars every few studs that really break things up color-wise. Makes it look like a Minecraft village house. It's still very flat though, so to add more texture, these masonry bricks always look great. Another technique you might have heard of is snot, or studs not on top, and it's incredibly powerful. You can attach practically anything to the side of these bricks, like other bricks, plates, tiles, ostriches, you name it. This is something I used making the shipping container for the raccoon costume fan, and guess what? She's back. Just slightly younger, long story. But another easy way to add depth to your builds is with these panel pieces. We can also use the power of LEGO jumper plates to set these pillars back by half a stud. And finally, these rail plates can work really well for walls. But this thing looks awesome. All these details were such tiny changes on their own, but together they made a massive difference. Just like it may not feel like you watching this right now can do anything to end homelessness on your own, but if enough of us make little tiny changes, we can make a big impact together. But the minifig that definitely made the biggest impact on this channel is definitely the robot repair tech. And Sparky, of course. I'm incredibly thankful that so many of you found and enjoyed that video. We wouldn't be able to do this today without it. But look at these new designs after they were completely submerged in water last time. That shiny new replacement arm, it's very sleek. I want to make the roof sort of sleek as well, using these curved bricks as the corners, but we should probably build the other 3 walls first, one of them with a door, obviously. We use mostly smooth tiles on top with very few studs, so that this platform I made for the roof using these round corners can be more easily removed since it's only attached in a few places. I was going to cover it in bright green leaves like the birdwatcher's old house, but the color doesn't quite match the season. So I still had a few extra bags from the treehouse set of fall color leaves that would work better to fill in the gaps beneath this platform. And we're putting a slightly different bird on it. It's dead. You can do what you want with this image. I'm not sure what I was doing here. Yeah, this thing makes Tom uncomfortable. He's not the biggest fan of it. But there's no way for him to go back in time to the first Thanksgiving to get turkeys off the menu. And Joe really wants to find out what Earthling turkey tastes like, so Tom will tolerate it for now. This redesign of the space creature is probably my favorite redesign so far. Just give anything a cape and it looks cooler. But he is getting hungry. All of them are. Hunger is an even bigger crisis than homelessness, affecting as much as 10% of the world's population, or 800 million people. There are likely even people in your own community that don't know where their next meal is coming from. One way you can help them out is by donating to your local food shelf. I built this LEGO food shelf with canned and boxed food that the 23ville residents helped donate, like cornflakes, popcorn, and 2 cans of sparkling water.
Wait, I just got that.
Another way to help is by volunteering at your local soup kitchen. You may be serving many people the only hot meal they've had all week. We're serving the soup in our kitchen using these old cauldron and ladle pieces from a Lego theme called Fabuland, featuring a bunch of creatures with weird animal heads. And the only animals that would make sense volunteering here are Chip and Dale. They're cooking up some pumpkin soup to feed everyone. Hopefully it's not too spicy. Here's the redesigned Pepper costume fan, by the way. And we've got a tray of turkey for Joe. Joe's mama, the night protector, with a really fun new outfit might I add, has been working on a new sleep schedule, so we should probably start building the beds in here. A warm bed is something I often take for granted, forgetting that there are so many out there who don't have that luxury. We don't have room for all 12 beds on the floor, so I want to build 6 bunk beds like some shelters have. I really considered using an illegal building technique to connect the beds like this, but that is no way to sleep. So I got out my Technic pieces for the first time in like 3 years and designed this solution. There's a ladder to get up, and it can fit someone on the top and bottom. So I built 5 more of them with room on the sides for all the pets to go. As I add the shelter to our city, I'm noticing it's slightly similar to the movie theater. I mean, they are both 1-story rectangular buildings with a flat roof holding a giant statue of the food they're dressed as, with lots of red furniture inside and a place for you to get food. But other than that, they're totally different. I also borrowed one more thing, this curved sign with a printed out name of the shelter, Gobble. You can think of some acronym that stands for in the comments, but as I said, the Chipmunk chefs are serving pumpkin soup inside. And I kind of forgot that this figure actually comes with a pumpkin. So many of you suggested we make him a pumpkin patch, so we built a community garden outside where the newly designed farm girl is growing pumpkins to make into soup, even developing a way to grow supersized versions of the vegetable. We've got a fence on this side with a gate to the medieval area, and a bike rack on this side to provide the 22VNs some basic transportation. The figure skating champion, looking very stylish from the waist up, actually uses these bikes quite a bit to vlog around the city, sometimes dragging his newly found wife with him. His channel is actually monetized now somehow. So he is rolling in the dough, but still doesn't have a place to live. We've still got a very important minifigure to show, but you may have noticed this video has a fundraiser somewhere on the screen going towards Habitat for Humanity International. It is a fantastic nonprofit organization that partners with low-income families around the world to provide affordable housing. You know how our channel's whole thing is building Lego houses for minifigures who need them? Habitat does that in real life, building real houses for real people in need. It cost them about $90,000 to build one house, but I thought a more realistic and fitting goal for us to raise would be $2,300. And I don't even know if that's too high or too low, or I have no idea what to expect, but we will see. Ignore that. I definitely could have ordered parts on Bricklink to make the shelter bigger and more impressive, but I think that money would be put to a better use by donating it to this amazing cause. I encourage you to do your own research on the organization and chip in a few dollars as well if you're able. Remember, every little bit counts, and if you're not able to donate money, don't worry about it. I already showed several ways you can serve your community by donating food, clothes, or your time that are just as impactful. Even by watching the video this far, you've already helped the message spread to more people, so thank you. I'm not even going to mention the subword we're losing against Elf on the Shelf. But one final way you can help is by volunteering to be a bell ringer, collecting donations for people in need like Terry here, who's turning over a new leaf. Go ahead and comment Terry below, for old time's sake. But if we reach the goal of 2,300 by Christmas Day, we'll do a stream where we build an extra house in the city for one or more of these figures live with you guys. Who do you think it should be?